Alright, rockers, we are back here inside the asylum with yours truly, Turbo, and right now going on in New Hampshire is Laconia Fest. And one of the bands that you will see this Saturday, June 18th, at Laconia Fest is Dope, as their reunion is in full swing effect. Joining me right now by phone, none other than Edsel Dope of Dope. How are you, Edsel?
I'm good, Mr. Turbo. How are you, brother?
I'm doing very well, brother. Thank you for joining me here inside the asylum. I'm sure you are crazy busy getting ready for your show coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, man. It's a whirlwind out here right now. We're putting the finishing touches on this reunion campaign that we recently did, signing up all the CDs that just came back from manufacturing, getting those all ready to ship out. Putting the finishing touches on our new album, Blood Money, that we've yet to announce a date for, but we're hoping is going to hit this year, along with all the dates of the tour that start in September, and then this Laconia Fest show that we're super excited to be part of, which kind of came out of the blue on us a couple months back, and that's this Saturday. So yeah, lots going on in the land of dope.
Well, that's good to hear. And I want to step back a minute, go back a few months, even a few years, because Dope was a band that was actually, in many people's eyes, my own included, kind of at the top of the game a few years back in the world of rock and metal, and it seems like just as you guys were taking the reign as one of the leaders, that was kind of where you guys just fell off the radar, and I'm sure many people are wondering, what caused that sudden disappearance, of you guys?
I don't know that I see it quite as black and white as you do, but I guess that's an interesting perception, and I appreciate it, actually. I'm just, the band came out in 1999, and between 1999 and I want to say 2009, probably 2010, whenever our last record came out, I mean, the band never stopped. I never slept. Like, all we did was tour and tour and tour and put out records consistently. And it was just time to take a break. And I have, various other businesses and other stuff that I do. So, we put out our last record. We did a called No Regrets. We did a tour with Black Label Society. And, and really was business as usual. And then, took a break. In that break, still have been very active. Still played, lots of shows close to home. We just kind of stopped touring as consistently as we had. And it needed to happen, man. And now we're, I'm excited that as I said before, we've played lots of spot shows here and there over the last several years, and one of those was going over to Russia, which we've done a few times. And this last time that we went to Russia, if anybody knows anything about the band, we've always been a sort of a revolving door fraternity of band members. There's never been a consistent lineup with Dope. Every album has been, a couple guys have come and gone. So when I put together tours and situations, I kind of just pick up the phone and see who's available and who's excited to do it. And this last time that we went to Russia, I just fell into place where the core of the old school lineup back from the Die Motherfucker Die days were all available and excited, and and we all got together and went to Russia and played this show and made our first ever live album because I knew it was going to be a special event. And then when that hit the internet that this lineup was going to do that, there was just a lot of love and outcry for that lineup to do more. So we started, put together a campaign and did the live record, and then ultimately booked a tour, which is happening this fall. So you are correct in the fact that this will be the first full national tour that Dope has done since that Black Label tour 6-7 years ago, whatever it was. But I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm the singer of the band and I got Dope tattooed on my knuckles. But to me, Dope never goes. It never goes away in the sense it just depends on how much time I spend on the road. But we keep on making music. We've recorded a couple records. Going to put a new record out here pretty soon. The band cannot break up. It's my band, so I'll always do it. It's just a matter of to what extreme. And I'm excited to be back, if for lack of better words, and to put a new record out and to get on tour with my old bros and play some shows, man. So I think that there's as much value in this as there is in overplaying. I think that may have been one of the reasons I needed a break, was that the band had overplayed for so long. I think there's a lot of bands that do that, and it's sometimes it works to your benefit, but other times I think it takes a toll on you and the fans. So I think that there's a lot of excitement for us coming back after being away for a while, and I'm looking forward to seeing that energy translate to a bunch of good shows.
Well, I can totally understand, where you're coming from, because, looking at the discography of Dope, I mean, you guys were literally putting out an album every 2 to 3 years, and, the way the industry was at the time was you put the album out, you went out, you toured for a year, and then you had to come back and follow that up right away with another album to stay relevant. And yet, here we are in a day and age where I guess you've got that leniency via social media to get a better lifespan out of new music through social media. So I can understand where you come from in saying that, the grind of it just kind of got to you.
I mean, that's certainly part of it. I think I was tired of touring, tired of being on the road all the time, tired of, had worked so hard to accumulate things and not spending any time at home with my family or with my house or the things that mattered to me, and needed to take a little break. Sure. I think also, I just got to do what you feel is right. And that's important to me too. I've never been real conventional. I've never really done things like everybody else. It seems to work for me. I think a lot of things that I've done could, one person would look at it and say, oh, I wouldn't do it like that. You're making a big mistake. I don't know. It seems to have worked for me. So we'll see. How much am I going to tour in 2017? I don't know yet. I know that we have a really cool tour booked for fall. I know that we got this reunion lineup. I know that's exciting. I know this live album is shipping out this month. I know we're going to put a new album out pretty soon. And if anybody out there likes Dope, that should be exciting for them and exciting for us. And then what happens next is to be determined. But yeah, man, we're just firing it back up and going out and doing some cool stuff, and I'm happy to do it with the old dudes. And Saturday, is kind of an example of things that we've been doing for the last several years since we haven't really been touring. We've done a lot of regional stuff. And, the Lacania Fest is a perfect example of that. Well, we're not on tour for it. It's just a one-off date. We're going to fly in and kick it with our bros in Seven Dust and a bunch of rowdy, roughneck motherfuckers and have a really good time and play some rock and roll. I like that. I don't necessarily feel the need to be on the road 10 months a year like we used to. I think that was a product of thinking that was what had to be done, and then realizing, well, maybe there is a different way to do it. And now we'll see how it shakes out for the future.
Understandably, right now, the way the industry is, we kind of get a mixture of touring and festivals, and the festivals allow for some bands that maybe can't do a full-blown tour or aren't ready for a full-blown tour because the way they are in the cycle of an album. It gives them that outlet to play if the urge strikes them. And as you said, you guys have been doing that for years, so I guess shame on me for being out of the loop on the festival dates that you guys were a part of. And with the reunion of that first lineup, were you surprised in any way in how fast and how big the fan reaction was towards the support to crowdfund?
It's a funny question because I think that that it's all in how you dissect it. I think that really and truthfully, what I think the fan enthusiasm was fuck yeah, Dope's gonna come back and tour again. And then it was the icing on the cake was, oh and shit, it's the dudes from the Die Motherfucker Die lineup. Oh, even cooler. But I don't think that it was so much. I don't think that the enthusiasm was all based around who is going to be in the lineup. I think that people have grown accustomed with Dope through the years that the lineup always changes, but it's always good. Like, it's one thing I will always be committed to is making records that are passionate, that I've put a tremendous amount of time and effort into, that the artwork and the graphic design around the records is always well thought out and has a lot of love and attention to it. The music videos are always extremely representative of Dope and the vibe, and you can tell that a lot of love and time and effort was spent on that. And the live show is the same thing. So if you've seen Dope in 2002 or you saw Dope in 2013, you probably got a similar feeling. You probably, even though it may have been different guys standing around me, the band always delivers at a certain level with a certain energy and a certain gusto, if you will. So I think the enthusiasm is more just that Dope is back to tour, that Dope is coming back to do something significant as opposed to regional touring or one-offs, that there seemed to be a focal point that, hey, look, Edsel's getting the troops back together and he's going to put something cool together. And the fact that it was made up of a special lineup from a special time in the band's history, I think just made it that much sweeter. And again, I think that there's a lot of diehard Dope fans that made a lot of sense to. And then I think there's a lot of fringe Dope fans that were like, they may not even know who they don't even know my name. They just know Dope's a fucking cool band and I like their songs and I'm going to go see them, and it's been a long time since I've been able to. So I think the culmination of all that together equaled a lot of enthusiasm for Dope doing a tour and coming back after being, as you said, having the perception of being away for a good while, which in that respect we were. So was I surprised? Not really, because I read our Facebook every day, and I mean, every day I get, messages. When are you guys touring again? When are you guys touring again? When are you putting out a new record? There's a legitimate amount of love and interest that has just kind of been waiting. So when we poked our head out of the sand and said, "Hey, we're doing something," the fact that people were excited about it was refreshing, because it had been a while since I had felt that. But I won't say I was too surprised, just because I read the messages, and I know that I know we have a connection with a group of people out there that are anticipating what the next move is. It's just been a while since they've had something to get behind. So hopefully we don't disappoint.
I definitely doubt that you'll disappoint, because I know that the Dope Army is, a strong one and a supportive one. And I want to credit you for being the person that actually reads the social media responses from the fans. There are so many bands nowadays that they get involved in social media, but they're not the ones running it. It's some hired intern at a label or at a PR firm. And I want to credit you for actually being the one to get on there and say, "Listen, this is what we're doing," and I'm the one answering it.
Sure. Well, again, when I don't have anything to really talk about, I kind of ignore it for a while. And then when I do, I'll engage in it. But at least people know that when there's a post from Dope, it's coming directly from me. If there's a reply, it's coming directly from me or from us. There's nobody running our social media sites for us, but there are definitely times where it looks like there's nothing going on, because I'm not paying attention to it, because I'm focused on other things, or I'm in the studio recording, or whatever. But when there's something to talk about, I'm the one talking about it.
Well, as I said, I gotta give you a lot of respect for doing that, and I mean, it just speaks volumes to what you do, as the founding member of Dope, and that you believe 100% in what you're doing, which is something not everyone can speak to nowadays in the industry. And you guys, you bring up the recording, and of course there is the hanging over the heads of many Dope fans, the album Blood Money, which was teased back in 2014, and it's in a way, I guess you could say, become the Dope equivalent of Chinese democracy. And just wondering where things are with Blood Money. Has it been revamped from the original? What's the current state of Blood Money?
Blood Money is coming out. Blood Money Part 1. That's the other thing, too. The album started off as a one-part album. It turned into a 2, potentially 3-part album, depending on how it all shakes out. But Blood Money Part 1 is coming out in 2016. We don't have a release date yet. We'll have all that in the coming weeks, and we'll figure it out and let everybody know. But man, it is what it is. Like, it takes a lot to release a record, and we have partners. We still have the same record label with E1 Entertainment that we've had for years, but it takes a lot of commitment from myself and the group of people that I commit to for releasing a record. You can't just put a record out and go, "Here it is, guys," and that's what everybody wants, but you can't do that. You have to commit to touring for a significant period of time. You have to commit to the things that go into pre-tour, which is the pre-production and all the stuff that goes along with that, doing all the interviews that you have to do when you put a record out, doing, refacing all your social media, making a bunch of music videos, all the things that go into that. And again, I'm extremely hands-on. There is no machine that runs Edsel Dope. Like, I do almost all of it myself. I produce the records myself. I direct the videos myself. Very much a one-stop shop. So there, you know, when Blood Money was first announced, that was the intent. The intent was, we're going to put this record out. It wasn't finished at the time. You know, oftentimes you promote a record before it's finished. We're going to put this record out, and then we're going to do a tour. And so we put out a teaser, and we started talking about it, and then all of a sudden, some things in my life changed. I went, well, you know what? I'm not going to be able to spend 6 months promoting and touring this record as planned. I'm actually going to move because some things in my life shook up, and I'm going to pack my whole life into a truck, and I'm going to move to another part of the country, and I'm going to do some other things that I need to do because sometimes life doesn't work out exactly how you plan. And ultimately, that's what happened. And in the process of that, I wrote a bunch more songs and started looking at the scope of what Blood Money was going to be and realized, man, there's a lot of songs here. This is probably a 2-part record, and how's that going to work, and what do I want to do? And then we went to Russia, and then we did the live album, and things just continued to happen. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't put enough news out there so people just kind of draw their own conclusions, but this isn't some guy being unreasonable and, you know, sitting in $1 million studio smoking cigarettes and breaking shit and being confused. You know, I'm a grown-ass man who was very blue-collar, like a lot of my fans, which is probably why I connect with my fans the way that I do. You know, I work hard. I try to prioritize the things in my life that are most important. Band is always important to me and always plays a big role. But, you know, sometimes things don't go as planned. This is life, and it is what it is. So the record got postponed, and the record got reworked, and a release date got changed. From where I sit, it's like no big deal like that. And then, you know, and then it's hilarious to me because I read the same stuff that you said. It's like, you know, who are you, Axl Rose now? This record's 2 years late, 3 years late. And I laugh. I'm like, what do you mean the record's 2 years late? The release date got changed. Like, what? I don't feel that pressure. I just kind of laugh it off. So I've kind of said nothing because since making an announcement that ended up being changed and not having a concrete date to give people, I felt, well, I don't want to keep saying stuff because then I'm going to have to listen to people bitch at me. So I'll wait, and when I know what the plan is, I'll let everybody know. So we're getting very close to that. And if you watch the video that I did at dopereunion.com where we talked about the live album, at the end of that, I touched on Blood Money and my affection for where the record's at and that it will be coming out this year. And that's the plan. When you see a new release date for Blood Money, you'll see it wrapped around a bunch of tour dates that are already out there for sale and that people know it's happening, and there will be no question as to whether or not this train has left the station. It's just been a winding road, and sometimes that's just the way it works. And you know, I apologize to everybody for the wait, but again, man, you know, I'm a grown-ass man. You know, I have lots of things going on in life now. It's not like it was when I was 25 years old and all I did was tour, make records, tour. There's a lot more that goes into it now, and I hit some bumps in the road, and some course changes happened, and that's it. But I'm stoked. I hope people like the record when it's all said and done. Again, it's going to be a more significant body of work than originally anticipated, at least 2 parts. But Blood Money Part 1 will come out before the end of the year.
Well, yeah, I had to asking. Yeah, I made that reference to Chinese democracy. I'm glad that you laughed it off because, you know, I guess so many people, and mainly the fans, those of us who are lucky enough to learn the ins and outs of the industry and get to know some of you guys on the road and through the years, realize what goes on in between. And I guess, when it comes down to, for the fans now, is anytime there's something announced and then stuff comes up, most of the regular ordinary music listening crowd, not the diehard fans, the ones that come and go with the trends, they're the ones that start the discussion of, well, it's been more than 2 years, and everyone gets tied up into that cycle and almost forget that there was a time when, albums would take longer in between because it was about touring to get the album out as opposed to tour album. There was a time to have a life in between.
Well, it's all good, man. I understand where people are coming from, and I'm glad that there's excitement around it. I'm glad that people were disappointed because they wanted it. So I get it. And I'll, hopefully it winds up being worth the wait. I just, shit happens, man. That's the best way I can put it. Like, it's just, that was the intention. When we put out the trailer and announced that it was coming, that was the intention. And then some things in my life changed, and it's no longer the intention. And things are different now in the sense that, social media is how everybody gets their news. And I'm kind of a private guy, like, to be honest. Like, I'm not the kind of guy that goes, oh shit, I'm getting divorced and I'm going to pack up and leave where I've been living for the last 10 years and I'm going to move to California because that's the kind of change that my head needs. I don't go on social media and go, hey guys, I know the record was coming out, but I'm having some big changes in my life and I'm going to move across the country and here's my reasons for why you're not going to get the record when we had hoped it would come out. Like, that's not how I do things. And in a day where, interviews are less common because people get their news directly from the artist through social media, I guess, people got no information. And I understand how that can be frustrating, but again, man, to me, it's music. It's a record. It's like, it got postponed. It'll come out. If if you still are interested when it comes out, I hope you pick it up. If you're not, cool. I hope whatever you're listening to is working for you. But I just I think it's comical. Some of the, I've gotten some pretty fucking irate messages of people that are like mad, and I'm like, how are you mad at me, man? Like, I'm just making records and I'm behind schedule. Like, what do you want from me? But I think all will be corrected when we finally get the record out and people realize that putting a record out without a tour and without 100% commitment from the artist is a mistake. And that's what would have happened if I would have put the record out back then. The other good news is that because the record was postponed, a lot more got to happen to the record. A lot more songs got written, a lot more involvement from guys like my guitarist Virus, who has been with the band for many years and has contributed a lot to different records. When the first announcement of Blood Money happened, he hadn't even played on the record because he was busy touring with his band Device at the time. So by my delaying the record for completely unrelated reasons, allowed me and him more time to reconnect when our schedules allowed and work on some more songs together. So I don't believe in the old everything happens for a reason, but I do believe that in this case, everything worked out, and I'm excited that we have a full U.S. tour booked with the reunion lineup, and I'm excited that we're going to be able to drop this record to coincide with that at some point. And it's all good, man. It's all good.
Well, I mean, like, I, for one, am looking forward to it, as I said. Yeah, I remember when, when you guys first came onto the scene, and I remember everyone going nuts with no regrets, and it kind of really being at the top of where you guys seem to be at the time. And I look forward to Blood Money, and I was not aware of the reunion until getting ready to talk to you today. I am going to go on and probably pre-order a copy of the live album, because that's the type of fan of music I am. I urge everyone else to do so. And I mean, there ain't nothing more I can ask of you other than, you got any last thing you want to say to the fans of Dope that you haven't already said?
No, man. I mean, I'm grateful that I have built a fan base of people that are connected to what we do. I really am. In the same breath, I also feel like I've never been a guy that forces out anything. I've never been a guy that that just kind of puts out something for the sake of putting out something. Like, I work really hard on the content that I put out. As I mentioned before, I'm really a one-stop shop. I'm the singer, songwriter of the band. I'm also the producer. I mix the records. Like, I mean, the process for me to make a record is, I think, much different than a lot of artists, because I am so hands-on and I turn all the knobs myself. And and again, it's not just the music; it's also the visuals. I'm creating the artwork of the records. I'm directing the music videos. I'm producing everything and putting the teams of people together. I don't have a manager. These things probably don't matter to a lot of fans listening, but like, I do all this shit myself, and it's not for any other reason other than it makes sense to me to do it like that. And I understand what I'm trying to do. And some artists, work in a completely different facet, and they're surrounded by several people that do a lot of these things for them, and that works for them. But for me, it works for me to be the guy that has my hands in all of it, and I feel like when it comes out and people hear it and feel it, it feels like me. And that's important. So it's just taken a little while longer for me to be able to give as much of myself to the cause as needs to be given from me to do this, whether that be finishing the album and putting it out, having a full tour booked and ready to go. But it's finally all coming together. And I appreciate the support and the enthusiasm and the anticipation for it. We got 50 plus dates on the books. If you go to Facebook, Dope the Band, and you check it out, there's a shitload of tour dates. We're going all over the U.S. And that new album is going to be right on the heels of all of that. So if you're into the band, or you have been into the band at one time, and if there's ever been a time to pop back in and see what's going on with Dope, this is the time, and start spreading the word to others that the band is focused in on a cause. And it's been a while since that's been the case. So I'm excited. But as with anything, I'm 100% in it, or I'm not in it. And it's taken me a while to get there. I've had a bunch of distractions and a bunch of things that needed my attention, but now here we are, man, and it's like a roller coaster. We're ticking to the top of the thing, and then it's about to shoot down. Well, hold on to your hat, because here it comes.
Awesome, man. Edsel Dope of Dope, thank you for taking the time out to join me here inside the Asylum. Look, if anyone ever questions who a true artist is, I'm just going to point people in your direction because, man, you do it all, and that's what a true artist is all about, man. I'm just going to, anyone argues with me, well, there are no true artists left in the industry. I'm going to point them in your direction because you are definitely one of a rare breed in the music industry today.
I appreciate the kind words, sir. I just do what I do. It's really no different than what I've been doing my whole career. This is just how I do it, man. It just took us a little longer to get to the finish line on this one, maybe because I'm a little older and I got a few more things going on in my life. But as I said, once I'm committed to the cause and I have a plan, it's on. So as you can see, the proof is in the pudding. There's 50 or 60 dates booked on the board right now. This live album, is a reality. They're starting to ship here in the next week or two. And the new album is coming on the heels of that. So there's a lot of action. It's been a while now that there's been very little action, but actions speak, and the actions are coming. So I look forward to getting back in the ring and taking some swings, and hopefully I'll have a bunch of support in the process.
Well, I know everyone looks forward to it. If you're at Laconia Fest or going this Saturday the 18th, get ready for Dope to kick your ass. And if not, get ready, they're coming back this fall on tour. Edsel, I've got pretty much your entire catalog at my disposal. Any particular song that you would like the listeners to hear with the full-blown return of Dope coming at them?
Why don't you play them Violence?
Violence.
Yeah, let's play them some Violence. Let's get bloody when we get back into this mess.
Alrighty, right now from Dope, this is Violence, and get ready because they are coming at you. They are back. Stay tuned, more to come here inside the Asylum.
Thank you, Turbo.
Thank you, Edsel.